June exams are fast approaching, guys, and if you are anything like me, you are probably nervous, like you are shaking, waiting, stress, waiting because you are probably trying to prepare, but the work is just not engaging. It's not making sense. Waiting like usheba buka marai man. No, man, it's not adding up. The math is not mathing. I know that exact feeling that you are probably feeling right now. And guess what? I have overcome that stumbling block a ton of times. Okay, a ton of times I've been in that moment where I was struggling. But guess what? With the effective tips that you're going to be receiving in this video, you are going to be able to overcome that. Best believe. And these are tips that I used to use in my high school. But evidently so, they are still helping me even in university, guys. Like you can see the marks that are popping up on the screen. I'm still doing good in uni, you know what I mean? In Bilani, I'm doing exceptional, So in this very video, I'm going to be giving you guys 5 effective tips to help you study for your June exams. Best be sure to watch until the end of the video to get the last tip, as that is the most crucial tip to help you out. But otherwise, let's get into it. Okay, Bafetu, there's only a week and a couple of days left until it's June, okay? And I don't know when your exams are specifically starting, but if I only had a week, guys, I would make sure that I start studying the first 2 exams that are coming up, okay? And that's one thing that I used to do back then in my high schooling and still do even in uni, right? What I do is that I try to multitask the subjects that are upcoming first, right? So have priorities, guys. Prioritize the first upcoming tests right now, okay? Start studying them right now. Even though it feels like it's far away, you want to make sure that you start studying now and that you space out your study sessions. Okay, even if it means that you're studying just for 2 hours every single day, it's fine, right? As long as you're consistent with it and that you have enough time to study, right? So hence what I would always do was to open up a calendar and see how many days do I actually have left, and then basically designate each day with about 2 hours or perhaps 4 hours if I need 4 hours, throughout the different days, right? And even specifically on that specific day, perhaps let's say on a Monday, I would make sure that those 2 hours I don't study like consistently without any breaks, like put breaks even between those sessions, right? Put at least 10 to 20 minute break, like don't burn yourself out, because guess what? Studying, it's not the most fun thing to do in the world, but if you can put in enough breaks and you can do it consistently, it's gonna come easy, So hence the first tip of the video is to start studying now and to break apart your study sessions, right? So space them out evenly and equally so that you can, make sure that you do well and you know all the terminology by the time the exam starts. And then, Bafetu, one thing that is really important that some people don't tell you, okay, but I'm gonna tell you, okay, it's a secret that A students don't tell you, is that the environment that you study around is really key to your success, okay? It's really important that you study in a conducive environment, okay? These are just like smaller things that you probably don't take that you take lightly, but that are actually important. So the things I'm talking about is literally having a neat table, okay, a neat environment, okay, because your brain needs to function optimally, and it's not gonna function at an optimal rate if your room is messy, because you're gonna get distracted by looking at the things that are on the floor. Oh, I need to go do the dishes, that dish is still there. Bafetu, especially those that are living alone at rest, Bafetu, be clean, okay? Like it actually works to your benefit if you are in a clean environment and that you're studying on your desk, guys. That is so important. If you study on your bed, like you're not gonna be able to study at an optimal rate, like because your bed is a place for relaxation. It's a place to just chill and sleep. You know what I mean? Like you can't study there, but the minute you're studying on your desk, your brain is already like knowing that this is the conducive place where we're gonna retain information. You know what I mean? And a pro bonus tip is that go study even in the library, guys. You have no idea how much how much more productive you can be when you're studying in the library. Like for me, I'm always in the library because when I'm in the library, I'm able to focus a lot more because I can see that the people around me are studying, they are focused. So what am I doing, like scrolling on TikTok? I even feel guilty. I'm like, no, I can't be on TikTok right now. Let me go and let me get studying, So every time I'm in the library, I'm way more productive. So I think that you should definitely head over to your local library or even the school library there at your school, and make sure that you start studying. So hence, that second tip is that you should make sure that you're studying in a more conducive environment. Hold up, before I carry on, I am Kutlwano, aka Clapback Studies, and we're all about leveling up in our academics and getting them distinctions, you know what I mean? So if you are enjoying this video and it's actually helping you out, please do follow me and subscribe to my YouTube channel, because you know what, like, you best believe it's gonna help you out. Like, it's really gonna help you out. There's so many study tips that I have on my YouTube channel that are basically gonna be helping you out, even with being productive, even with making sure that you actually do well for other upcoming exams, like your prelims if you're in matric, and even your finals. Alrighty, getting back into this video, guys, we need to address the big bad monster, okay? The one that many of us are consumed by, and that is cramming, guys. Do not cram, okay? Make sure that you are not going to plan to cram for your exams, okay? An alternative that is much better than cramming is making sure that you understand the work that you are studying for, okay? It's not necessarily an easy thing to do, okay, to make sure that you understand, but it's something that is going to be beneficial for you, okay? Because one thing for sure is that if you just go into these exams with a cram, pass, forget mentality, okay, what's going to happen is that in term 4, once it's the final exams, all of the work that you've been doing throughout the year is going to be in those exams. And guess what? You would have forgotten all about what you had studied. Why? Because you decided to do cram, pass, and forget. Like that mentality, I've never really understood it. And I know very much that I've been a victim to it unconsciously, when I was doing bad. Yeah, I used to cram. I'm not gonna lie to you. I used to cram, But right now, when I think about cramming, I'm like, guys, that is detrimental to your success, okay? Because the minute that you start cramming, you're not gonna be able to do well in the latter exams that are going to be coming. So make sure that you are learning to understand. That's the third tip. Learn to understand the information. And you can do that by making sure that you do summaries of the information in your textbook, right? So rather than just reading the book and highlighting, read the information and actually summarize it in your own words, what you're understanding from it, right? So this is a pro tip for those that are doing subjects that have a lot of theory, right? So your biology and stuff. So when they're teaching you about the endocrine system and stuff, like summarize that information in your own words and see if you actually understand it. And if you don't understand it, go to your teacher so that they can explain it to you, right? You still have time, okay? There's still about a week and a few days before it's June. So go to your teacher, get some help, or perhaps search on YouTube. Guys, YouTube is the most helpful place ever. Okay, you were able to find me on YouTube to help you. So best believe there are so many teachers on YouTube that are teaching certain topics, whether that's your math, your biology, your economics, your physics, everything. It's literally on YouTube. You just search the topic that you need help with, and the YouTube teachers can sometimes be a bit more helpful because maybe their teaching style is a bit different, so you'll learn a bit better, So understand the topic right now so that in future you will even be able to do well in the latter exams. And then moving on from that tip, right? Of course, you're trying to learn to understand, right? Now, we also need to acknowledge the fact that we are all different, guys. We are all different. We are unique. God has made us in his likeness, but you know what? We are all very much unique in our own way and even in our own way of learning. So one thing for sure is that you need to identify what works best for you when you are trying to study. And best believe, guys, there's many different ways of studying. I know very much some learners are like visual learners, right? So they learn a lot better through imagery, right? So they like to see certain videos, or draw certain images to be able to actually comprehend the work a lot better, right? So work towards your strengths. Like for me, I am very talkative, as you can see. Like I draw pep a lot. I draw pep, and I'm very conversant with people and stuff. So one thing that works for me is that I'll recite the information out loud, or perhaps I'll even talk about the information to my friends, right? So one thing for sure about me, I'll be studying with my friends, like we'll be testing each other and we'll be talking about the information. And by doing that, like I will be able to retain it even better, right? And some learners are perhaps auditory learners, right? They learn better by hearing the information. So instead of necessarily like reading out your textbook, you'd rather like scan the textbook, right, with a PDF scanner, and then like get these like AIs there on Google and stuff, like get it to like read the information out for you, and by doing that you are learning a lot more better. So work towards your strengths, right? My biggest advice to even like the visual learners, right, perhaps you can even make mind maps, that are creative, that are very visual in terms of images, like drawing out pictures of certain things, right? So that you can understand the topics even better. Because guess what? Studying is not very fun, as I've mentioned, guys, but you can make it fun for yourself, right? By making it very creative, very much motivating to go back to your notes, right? Because you see that they're so neat, they look so nice and so creative, and that will even drive your incentive to learn. So for me, that's what's been helping me a lot more, and what makes me way more what can I say, consistent with studying. So the fourth tip for you guys is to work towards your strengths, right? So find study methods that are gonna work for you specifically, and you can only do that by trying different things, right? Try different study things to see what will actually work best for you. And now the last and fifth and final tip for you guys that is very, 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 very much crucial is that you should use the active recall study technique. Okay, this one is recommended by scientists, by scholars, okay, and very much a ton of A students use it, being me as well, okay? And active recall is basically all about how you are actively engaging with the information, okay? And you can only actively engage with the information if you are testing yourself and seeing if you actually understand it. So one thing I love doing for myself is basically setting up cue cards, right? I used to do some cue cards as well as like a mini test for yourself, So as you are basically, this is basically after you've done studying, right? So once you know that you study basically like visually, so maybe you've created your mind maps, you feel like you know the work very confidently, right? You can perhaps have cue cards that are set to be able to actually test yourself and see if you actually remember the terminology. But more than anything, guys, don't just study like the terminology. So guys, even with your cue cards, you can also make sure that you're studying the concepts, right? So instead of just asking yourself like a straightforward question like, what is algebra or whatever, like rather ask yourself some more in-depth questions, right? So perhaps for the economics students, right, ask yourself stuff like, why is there marginal utility? Right? Then you can even ask yourself such questions, and those questions are more in depth to the concept, right? It's not just straightforward question that you can answer by regurgitating the information and just saying that the law of marginal utility states that don't. No, actually ask yourself, why does it apply to this concept? Right? Why is it effective in a real world situation, right? Because the tests and exams are not going to be so simple. Some of the exams are going to need you to apply yourself, especially the university students. You guys know what I'm talking about, okay? It's shreering there, And active recall can be done in many different ways, okay? Perhaps you can even study with a friend and have them test you, right? Have them go through your textbook and ask you questions about what you had learned or what you are supposed to learn. And that way you will be knowing which of the topics don't you know so thoroughly, you know? So if they ask you certain questions about a topic that you don't know and you feel like, no, I should be knowing this topic for the test, then make sure that you go over that topic once you are done being tested, right? And go over it as many times as possible. Then test yourself again. You know, and the more that you test yourself, then you'll 100% be ready for your exam. Now we've reached the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching until the end of this video. But of course, all these tips are not gonna be effective if you are always procrastinating, okay? If you're always procrastinating and not getting to studying, okay? One thing for sure is that you need to get onto this video that is showing up on the screen, okay? Click on it, as it's my previous video that I've detailed and spoken about how to overcome procrastination and how you'll be able to do better in your exams if you can manage your time better. So click on this video right over here and I'll see you there.